In 2247, the Galactic Cultural Exchange Initiative had become standard practice. Every human who reached adulthood was paired with an alien companion for mandatory 2-year cultural immersion, living together, learning each other's languages and customs, building interpersonal bridges formal diplomacy couldn't achieve. The program was carefully managed, with psychological profiles and compatibility algorithms ensuring manageable matches. Jacob Reeves expected something predictable. He was a librarian in New Seattle's Archive District. His life built around quiet routine, historical research, and the comforting predictability of cataloging humanity's cultural heritage. His profile should have matched him with someone equally calm. Instead, his notification read, Companion assignment, Kerra of the Ash Plains tribe, species, Vrakai, arrival, tomorrow. The Vrakai were barely in the exchange initiative, a warrior culture from a hostile world. Their society built around combat prowess, tribal loyalty, and survival in brutal environments. Known for being fierce, unpredictable, and utterly disdainful of soft civilizations. Only a handful had participated, usually causing chaos before requesting early termination. Jacob assumed there'd been a mistake. He filed an appeal explaining the obvious error. The response was curt. No error. Assignment is final. Prepare for arrival. Kerra arrived like a force of nature. 7 feet of corded muscle and feral energy, her skin marked with tribal scars, her eyes carrying predator focus of someone who'd survived things Jacob couldn't imagine. She wore minimal clothing despite Seattle's autumn chill, carried weapons that technically violated city ordinances, and regarded his carefully organized apartment with obvious disdain. This is home. Her Terran standard was heavily accented but comprehensible. Where do you train? Where are your weapons? How do you defend such soft dwelling? Jacob tried explaining urban Earth didn't require constant defense, that they had security systems and law enforcement. Kerra looked at him like he'd admitted to being fundamentally broken. You allow others to provide your protection. You have no honor scars, no kill marks. She circled him like prey, evaluating. The matching spirits must have erred greatly. You are weak thing. It was the worst possible start. Kerra refused the guest room, instead claiming the living room floor as her territory. She woke at dawn with combat drills that shook the apartment and alarmed neighbors. She viewed Jacob's vegetarian diet as incomprehensible weakness, his exercise routine laughable, his librarian work as cataloging the past while refusing to live in present. Within 3 days, Jacob had received 2 noise complaints, 1 visit from building security, and multiple concerned messages from exchange administrators checking if he was managing the situation. He was exhausted, his routine shattered, his peaceful life transformed into constant chaos. He tried talking to Kerra about compromise, about respecting his space. She listened with barely concealed impatience. In my tribe, weak do not demand respect. They earn it through strength. You have shown no strength. It stung because it was partially true. Jacob had spent his life avoiding conflict, choosing comfort over challenge. But he was also confused. If you think I'm so weak, why are you here? Why accept this assignment? Kerra's expression shifted to something that might be vulnerability. My tribe no longer wants me. I questioned our ways, suggested we learn from other people's rather than only fighting. I was named coward, exiled to this program. They expect me to fail and return in shame, proving outside ways are wrong. For the first time, Jacob saw beyond the fierce warrior facade. Someone also dealing with an assignment they didn't want, trying to survive a situation that made no sense. The realization didn't immediately fix anything, but it shifted the dynamic. Jacob stopped trying to make Kerra fit into his life and started trying to understand hers. He asked about Vrakai culture, their history, what strength actually meant. Kerra, surprised by genuine curiosity rather than judgment, began sharing. Strength to the Vrakai wasn't just physical power, it was resilience, ability to survive and adapt, willingness to face challenges. Her combat drills weren't mindless violence but meditation, discipline, connection to heritage stretching back millennia. When everything comfortable is taken away, she explained during one late-night conversation, what remains? If you have built nothing inside yourself, you collapse. Vrakai survive because we carry our strength within. Jacob countered, and when strength is all you have, what happens when you age? When injury makes combat impossible? My work preserves knowledge so others don't have to relearn everything. Civilization builds on accumulated wisdom, freeing people to specialize, to create, to think beyond just survival. They were talking past each other, but they were talking, and slowly, grudgingly, starting to see validity in perspectives they dismissed. Jacob began joining Kerra's morning drills. He was terrible, lacked her coordination and strength, but he showed up daily. Kerra noticed. She started teaching rather than just demonstrating, adjusting exercises to his capability. Less pathetic today, still weak but less. In turn, Kerra began attending Jacob's work at the archive. Initially dismissive, she became fascinated by historical records of human conflicts, strategies, the evolution of combat across centuries. She had insights Jacob never considered, viewing military history through lens of someone who'd lived by warrior codes. They started collaborating on a project documenting Vrakai combat philosophy, with Jacob providing archival methodology and Kerra contributing cultural knowledge. The work was compelling, their different strengths complementing each other. The turning point came during a crisis. Equipment malfunction caused partial structural failure in the archive, trapping Jacob and two colleagues in a collapsed section with limited oxygen. Emergency services were en route, but the situation was life-threatening. Kerra was off-site when it happened, but she heard through emergency broadcast. She arrived before responders, assessed the situation with combat veterans' tactical mind, and made a decision that horrified safety coordinators. She was going in through unstable wreckage. They tried stopping her. She ignored them with absolute authority. My companion is inside. This is my responsibility. She navigated collapsed structure with impossible efficiency. Her Vrakai strength moving debris human responders couldn't shift. Her survival training identifying safe paths through unstable wreckage. She reached Jacob's section in 12 minutes when responders estimated 20 minimum. Jacob was semi-conscious from oxygen deprivation, the two colleagues in worse condition. Kerra made hard choice. She could carry two people out but not three. She should take the colleagues first. Instead, she picked up Jacob. I carry my companion first, then return for others. This is Vrakai way, tribe before strangers. She made 3 trips through collapsing structure, each more dangerous than the last, retrieving all 3 before final collapse. She emerged from the last trip covered in dust and minor injuries, carrying the second colleague, and collapsed from exhaustion the moment they were safe. When Kerra recovered enough to move, she found Jacob and dropped beside him with typical bluntness. You are still weak, but you are my weak human, so I protect. Jacob surprised himself by laughing. Thank you for the rescue. And for everything. For not giving up on this assignment even though I'm not what you expected. Kerra's expression softened marginally. You show up to training daily despite being terrible. You ask questions about my culture instead of dismissing it. You work hard at your soft human tasks. She paused. This is also strength. Different from mine but not false. I have been wrong to call you weak. In the weeks following, their relationship transformed. They were no longer unwilling roommates but genuine companions, learning from each other, challenging each other, building something neither expected. The mandatory 2-year term approached completion. Standard procedure was that companions return to their respective worlds. They discussed this during evening training that had become their shared ritual. I am supposed to return to Ash Plains, Kerra said, tone carefully neutral. Prove that I survived soft civilization, maybe be readmitted to tribe. Jacob felt unexpected loss. Is that what you want? Kerra was silent. My tribe no longer feels like home. They exiled me for suggesting we could learn from others, but I have learned. I have grown. Returning would mean abandoning that growth. She looked at Jacob directly. What does human do after companion exchange? Usually resume normal life, apply the cultural knowledge to our work, maybe maintain communication with former companions. Jacob hesitated. But there's no rule against continuing the arrangement, if both parties choose it. Kerra's fierce grin returned. Then I choose to stay, if weak librarian will have wild alien woman as permanent companion. Jacob matched her smile. I think weak librarian has learned that wild alien woman makes life significantly more interesting. And maybe I'm not quite as weak as I was. Still weak, Kerra corrected, but affectionately. But less weak, and my weak human. The story ends with them presenting their joint project at an academic conference. During Q&A, someone asks Jacob what he learned from the Cultural Exchange Initiative. I learned that the matching algorithm is smarter than we think. I thought I needed someone calm and predictable. Instead, I got someone who challenged everything I believed about strength, courage, and what it means to really live rather than just exist safely. He glances at Kerra. Everyone else got normal mates. I got something better. I got someone who pushed me to grow, who refused to let me stay comfortable and weak. She's wild, unpredictable, absolutely impossible some days. She's also the best thing that ever happened to me. Kerra adds, and I got soft human who taught me that strength comes in many forms, that learning is not weakness, that tribe can be chosen as well as born. He is still terrible at combat, but he is mine and I am his, and this is stronger bond than any my birth tribe offered. After the conference, they walk through the city they now share, having built a life that honors both their natures, proving that true companionship isn't about matching personalities. It's about respecting differences, pushing each other to grow, and choosing daily to show up for someone who makes your life harder and infinitely better.